do it
Like
at
my
church.
parents can be in the room and I'm not cringing.
Exactly. Like that seems harder than anything to me. Just read what he says and then look at the picture.
My mom just. Am I reading this out loud?
Yeah, read it out loud. It really does. They don't look any hotter. They just look less beat. That's what alcohol does. Dude, that is the breeding ground for the most regret I've ever heard. Substantial amounts of regret.
Tell me more about gravy.
I mean, I'm a poor, I have a poor palate, so it can't really distinguish between like legitimate gravy from the turkey and like mushroom gravy that my mom buys all the time.
Okay.
So which I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. It's a little bit of both, I guess, because I'm just none the wiser. It's like
all gravy is created equal in your eyes.
Ignorance is bliss in the gravy world of my mind.
Okay.
What about you?
I can usually tell if there's bacon grease added to it.
Ooh.
Because that's just extra delicious.
You would have a good bacon radar. Your bacon dar is on point. Mine's completely broken.
It was honed through camping trips, learning to cook with bacon grease.
You were born in the darkness. You were born in the gravy. You were molded by it.
Honestly, I can't claim any great gravy competence, but I can definitely tell if it's crafted with love or if it's just, some out of a can kind of just blah.
I mean, I'm the way with gravy as the way I am with wine. Like I can't tell like a solid $20 bottle from like $100 or even like a $500 bottle.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. That is the secret.
Very few people can, and the people who can may be lying.
I'm convinced that wine is just a scam. It's just like a way to like flex on rich people around you.
On the flip side, though,
yes,
there is wine. Wine has like these lofty heights, where most people just can't. They can't discern the elegance and the delicacy of the notes of flavor.
Yeah, we got poor palates.
But it also has low lows. Like, because you can tell a good wine
right.
Like you can tell a good wine from a bad one.
But it's interesting because I have a poor palate, the law of diminishing returns exists, but it exists. It starts working at like $20 and up.
Yeah.
Whereas like someone with a wealthy palate, it's like it starts at like $500 and up.
Sure.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you're like, but if I spend less than $10, chances are, I can tell that I didn't get my,
yes,
I didn't get a good
wine. Wine for me is a pass or fail grade. Yeah. There's no nuance to it. There's nothing. It's
just good or bad.
It's just good or bad. It's like
it's red or white.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's rosé.
Who am I kidding? Everything's good to me, dude. I'll drink it. I'll drink a box. I'll drink a box of wine. Give me the Franzia.
Oh, that reminds me. I learned recently that Australians call it a goon bag.
They call what a goon bag?
Like boxed wine.
Oh, boxed wine.
Like
a goon bag.
Like they'll take. I guess they take it out of the box and they just have a big silvery bag.
That's so funny. They're just like they're calling people who are drinking that like poor wine just goons. Like, what are you gooning?
I don't know. What
are you, a goon?
A goon bag. That's just I for some reason that stuck in my brain. It's interesting because it could be completely fabricated. Like there's no reason why people can't go online and just make up Australian facts, and I'll have no idea. I don't have any discernment on whether that's true or false.
Australia,
but it sounds plausible.
Australia is one of those places and one of those cultures where you could be like, oh yeah, there's this weird word they say, and just make up a word on the spot, and it's very believable because Australia does have some of the weirdest lingo out of the English-speaking countries.
You know what? I wish there was more people with Australian accents around here.
Yeah, you don't really see it much.
Like everybody here is either just California accent or Hispanic accent or Asian accent.
True.
And then that's it. Like
that's very true.
I want more Australian and English and French.
Yeah.
And
we need some more mates.
European.
We need some more mates. We need some more blokes.
Yeah.
We need some what else are we lacking? We got the Middle Eastern accent pretty nailed in.
I like a Russian accent every now and then.
Yeah, there's no,
especially on a pretty lady, but
yeah, no comrades.
Russia is not the most popular place at the moment, so I can't push too hard.
On a pretty lady, really. I always like I feel like it's like Russian accent is like adjacent to German, where it's like it's so aggressive. It could be like an audiobook with 50 Shades of Grey. If it's like Russian or a German chick, it's just like, and then he touched my thigh. That was very nice. That's the terrible. It's not even an attempt at an accent, but
that was an interesting go at it.
Well, okay, because for German accents, it's just or just German language, it's just them hawking up a loogie. That's just that's what it sounds like. That's all Hitler was doing the whole time, dude. Everyone was just convinced like he's the best hawker.
That's your pre-roll right there. German is a very throaty language, and it comes off sounding very harsh to most people.
Yeah,
I think it's hard for a German accent to be softened, but it can be done.
Yeah,
but speaking German, it just to our ears it does sound harsh.
I mean, it'd
pretty
be
much
the same...
just always. You can't be like,
yeah,
let me have this character say some seductive lines in German, and then the California audience just eats it up.
No, it doesn't translate. Yeah. It just doesn't work. Like to the universal public, it's like a German love movie is kind of like a French horror movie. It's like, and I'm going to cut your balls. It's like that was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I'm turned on. I'm actually aroused right now.
French and not unearned has a reputation for being the language of love. It is a very sexy ass language.
It is.
Can't deny that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just more accents in general, especially like because I met a few people who were from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And initially it comes off sounding very Australian, but if you're exposed to it for a little bit longer and you're paying attention, you go, this isn't Australian. It's something Australian adjacent.
It's like diet Australian. None of the calories.
That's one way of putting it, I guess. I don't know. I've successfully spotted it once or twice.
Yeah,
but initially it comes off sounding Australian.
Then what's like the in between of a French accent and a German accent if they're on polar opposites of the spectrum?
Somebody who's from the Alsace who speaks both languages. Like there's this whole piece of land that.
What does that accent sound like?
I don't know.
That has to be the most like neutral. Like, wait, is it aggressive or is it?
I've been there, and I remember liking hearing the English that was spoken there by the local people who were speaking English.
Right. Yeah.
But it's this area of land that the border shifted between Germany and France multiple times over the years.
Yeah.
So there's this piece of land it was Germany, then it was France, then it was Germany, and blah blah blah.
I just feel like the perfect hybrid. I wouldn't know whether to be turned on or scared.
That's where you should go. Like it's a great spot for a vacation too.
Right. But if you have two German people or two French people that sleep with their cousin, then their kid just has an American accent.
I don't understand the math of that. I don't. My brain doesn't calculate math in that kind of way. So
I'm just saying the American accent is probably the dumbest sounding one of the dumber ones.
Specifically, you want to get specific about it?
Sure.
I'm gonna throw New Jersey into the bus. Sorry.
Oh
guys.
yeah. It's like homeless Boston. I don't know what it is.
I'm not going to try to pretend that California native accent is anything to aspire to.
Right.
But
I don't know, like the stoner surfer bro accent. Yeah, dude. No, totally like yeah, that sounds great. Like, imagine what that sounds like to someone who doesn't know what the words mean. That's got to sound crazy.
That probably does, yeah.
It's like, have you ever played The Sims or like seen any of the like Dugebug? It's like there's a YouTube video of a guy who just does shit like that. He goes, "This is what English sounds like to people who can't understand it," and he basically just talks in The Sims, and you're like, "Oh my god, that sounds so dumb." We sound so dumb. Like, am I American frang? Lincoln make merming and a little bit.
I mean, if you want to punch down, you could always make fun of Dutch.
I don't even. What is that even like? I'm too uncultured in my bubble to know what a Dutch accent is.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
Is it pretty bad?
It's just listening. If you listen to Dutch being spoken, you're just like, why am I craving waffles? But also, there's a lot of hoofdorping.
Hoofdorping. That is kind of a derpy term. That is a derpy word.
I don't even know. I don't know where that came from.
What was the word? Doof hopping?
Hoofdorf.
Hoofdorf. A hoofdorf. But that does sound like a good Danish word.
That's
Hoofdorf. Maybe it's because it sounds kind of English. It sounds.
Wait. Hang on.
It sounds very English.
This is a point of contention in my brain. Is Danish Dutch or is it from Denmark?
I'm too dumb to know.
Damn, so am I.
Sometimes the accent fits.
if the accent fits, wear it. Yes, dear listeners, viewers,
please
if you want to enlighten us and also have opinions about which accents you want to throw shade at. I guess we're easy targets, so go ahead. But maybe spread it around a little bit. Yeah,
exactly. We don't want to single any one group out too much. It's not racist if you make fun of everyone.
That's like one of the central rules of comedy.
Yeah,
right. Is everything and everyone has to be fair game.
Right.
You have to spread it around evenly.
Yeah, but there's people out there who have a big problem with that because they're like, well, not everyone has the privilege of being unoppressed. So it's like maybe comedy shouldn't apply to marginalized groups or people who are already struggling with something, which I don't agree with. I think I think making fun of everyone is a way to kind of instill a bit more equality between everyone. But then other people don't see it that way, which I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand that. And I'm just like, yeah, but then to me, it almost feels more alienating to be like, we're going to make fun of everyone except you. It's almost like a privilege. It's almost like an honor to be made fun of by like a comedian because they kind of just see you as the same. You're part of you're in on it.
It's actually,
you're in on it.
I mean, call me whatever I am, but isn't it inclusive?
Right. That's a very controversial point that I didn't really realize for a long time until I started talking to people that are like with different perspectives on it, completely the opposite way, where it's like, no, it's not inclusive because they're already dealing with someone. And the other thing is like the argument I've heard is that these people who are already oppressed, if jokes are being made fun of them, then there are some viewers, some audience members who listen to the jokes and they view it as almost like ammunition to continue oppressing or hating a group of people or to marginalize a group of people, which I'm just like, I don't know if that's
but they were gonna find that ammunition wherever it could be fabricated in their mind.
Right. It's like you're not going to make someone any more or less hateful. But then I guess the counter argument, and I don't agree with this, I'm just playing devil's advocate from what I've heard, is that it potentially can make someone more hateful towards a group of people if they're and to a degree I get that. If you're someone who's not of sound mind and you're just a hateful person and you listen to a comedian that's just like, I don't know, making jokes about trans people or something like that. Like Dave Chappelle he has tons of jokes about trans people or whatever. Mm-hmm. He has, to be fair, he has tons of jokes about every group of people. But I could see someone go, well, trans people are already at higher risk of getting beat up or getting robbed or killed. And so this is just perpetuating that by people who are already of the mindset where they're already kind of intolerant of trans people. And so when they almost use this comedian's material as a way to reinforce their beliefs, and that just can heighten them to new levels of hatred, which is like, I still don't think that's the comedian's fault. I think the comedian's just trying to make it inclusive and try to bring everyone in. So then it becomes one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like a comedian's like a gun. Like, is it the gun's fault or is it the person using the gun in the wrong way?
I think that's a fair question. I don't besmirch anyone the right to ask it. I don't have a good answer for it. I off the top of my head, but I feel like comedy at its core is almost like it's almost a pure like safe space.
Yeah.
In that,
yeah,
it's available for anyone to say anything,
right?
As long as it's done in a spirit of seeking to lighten people's spirits.
Right.
It's not out of
Done
malice.
With malintent. Yeah.
It may touch, and the beauty of comedy is that it can touch on extremely sensitive topics and make them accessible.
Right.
For discussion.
Yeah.
And because it's through the lens of comedy, that you almost can't touch on these topics otherwise.
Right.
And you can spread valuable, important messages about some very fenced off topics.
Right. A lot of taboo.
As long as you're doing it within the temple of comedy.
Right. Exactly. And I think the best comedy for me is like the kind that sort of skirts the line between both sides of an argument.
Yeah.
And sort of points out the fallacies and the absurdity of either or.
Yes.
But I think that is also kind of a way to bring people together, to be like, like your side's kind of crazy, my side's kind of crazy.
Well,
and this person just outlined it without being offensive, or without us really feeling uncomfortable in order to get to that point.
One thing, I don't know. I think
it's tough.
One thing worth mentioning in the context of comedy is the court jesters. It used to be that monarchies would have very, very highly ranked people who were the court jester.
Yeah.
And it was their job to take awkward silences and break them up. Or it was their job to say the thing that everybody is thinking out loud.
Yeah.
But they say it in a way that's so funny that the message that everybody feels in their hearts needs to be heard by the monarch gets across, but it doesn't make them start chopping heads off.
Exactly. Yeah. They're a tension release.
Right.
They're like, we like, there's good, like, tension will always exist in society. We need people who are masterful enough in their art of expressing a really taboo topic in order to dissolve the tension instead of continue building it.
I think it's on. There's a certain amount of responsibility on the side of the listener to lean into the spirit of comedy and accept it for just being, not serious, but you can talk about serious things without being serious.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make those serious things any less serious.
Right.
It just means that you can talk about them without making everybody, want to cry.
Yeah. And I think that brings up the question of, like, can jokes be harmful? And I think, to me, it's like, they can if they're not good jokes. If they're either done with malice or if they're not funny. Like, the point of a joke is to have that tension released. So if you don't achieve that, like Jerry Seinfeld was like, comedy is getting away with it.
That was quite recent, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. I heard the quote fairly recently.
Or it resurfaced.
Probably, yeah.
Recently.
He's had a million good quotes.
I remember hearing that recently.
But it's like, if you can make a group of people of, and any audience in a comedy show is diverse. It's a bunch of different walks of life, different backgrounds. If you can get a whole room to laugh about a dark topic, a sensitive topic, then you've done your job as a comedian. If the joke bombs and everyone goes, ooh,
everybody's stuck groaning,
then you didn't really do your job.
Yeah.
You didn't move the needle forward a little bit. So I think it is an art. It is an art that's
it's
tough.
It's hard to clearly define. And here's the thing is, if you say it's an art, doesn't that mean that it should be, if something's an artistic expression, isn't that like the super reverse Uno card to censorship?
Yeah.
Because artists get away with some shit.
Right.
Like some ridiculous shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of art is.
And it's not even always in good spirits. Like
yeah.
I mean, you can argue about it both ways, but I think you can probably get a majority to agree. Like, yeah, this person was an artist, but they were really just a charlatan operating under the license of artistry.
Exactly. Well, I think that's what it is. It's like anyone who's a comedian is they're all trying to get as close to crossing the line as possible without actually crossing it. Because the closer you can get to the line, the funnier it is until you go over. It's like Deal or No Deal. It's like, are you going to keep pushing your luck? You know what I mean? And that's why you do open mics. That's why you test a joke a million different ways with a million different audiences to figure out where's that line in the sand where everyone can feel good about this and still laugh about it versus, if I said one more thing, it's a slightly different way, suddenly, it bombs.
It's very, okay. So it's art. It's very, very hard to pin down. It's very open to interpretation. And then even after all that, you still have people who want to put restrictions or guardrails on it. I don't know. I'm not a comedy expert, but I do like to laugh, and I do like comics who aren't afraid to tread on sketchy topics, and they just, I mean, you on the flip side, you have to appreciate the skill and charisma that it takes to be a comic who just sticks to like family friendly, clean, PG stuff.
Right.
Like that actually, it's
so hard.
is a subclass of skill.
Yeah.
That is like that. Like
it's just
as
easy
difficult to talk about poop and make people laugh.
It's just as difficult, I think, to be a clean comic as it is to be a raunchy comic or whatever. And I think there's always different schools of thought where it's like, oh, it's easy to just like make dick jokes and be crass. It's like, not really. It actually takes a lot of skill to make, harsh topics funny.
Yeah.
And equally so, it takes a lot of, you have to have a really good perspective on things. And like your wording and timing has to be great if you're going to be a clean comic.
Yeah.
They're two sub niches of an art that both deserve credit, because I could name really good, not safe for work comedy or comics and really super clean comics that I'm just like, this is one of the funniest comics alive right now. And he's just super
and he could do
like
my parents can be in the room and I'm not cringing.
Exactly. Like that seems harder than anything to me. Wait, you're going to make me and my parents laugh at the same time? That I feel like is a crazy skill.
Yes.
That's really tough.
It's not creating any acrimonious feelings of oh, well, this really highlights how we feel differently about this controversial thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's,
it's like
that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. But enough about comedy.
Okay.
Let's move on.
We have remote control cars.
We have remote control cars. Oh yeah, let's get into that.
What was the first remote control car you ever had?
I remember, I don't know if it was the first, but it was one of the early ones. These were all the rage when we were young. They were like the little RC cars. They were super mini. They were like, yay big, slightly bigger than Hot Wheels, but not by a whole lot.
Okay.
And they had the controller, which was just like this little, it looked like a tuna can almost, and it just had like 2 buttons on it with an antenna sticking out. And if I remember correctly, I think you could either charge the car on top of it, or it could like, be like mounted to it.
I'm having some very vague memories of something like that.
Okay.
That's weird.
But it was huge. It was like trending, and there were these like little mini, almost like tech deck size RC cars, and they were so fun. I mean, we'd have like 3 or 4 of them, and all the kids were just like racing them and stuff. And then they just vanished. And then I didn't really touch an RC car here and there if someone had one around.
That was after Pogs, right?
It was after Pogs. Mm-hmm. It was after Pogs. But that was the most fun that I remember having with RC cars back in the day. And then when I was over at my parents' place with Mel a couple weeks ago, my dad bought like 3 RC cars just randomly. I guess they went to like a $5 store where everything was $5 or less. Okay. And they got these RC cars for $5.
That's for that car. That's not a bad deal.
We spent like an hour or two just like
and it has a lithium battery.
It is a double A's.
Okay, that still works.
They're double A's, which is actually kind of nice because then you could just keep going.
Yeah,
you don't have to wait. There was no downtime.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice. It is kind of. I know lithium ion has its place, but it is kind of nice to just be able to hot swap them and just keep going. Especially with something like that where you're
I'm big on rechargeable AA batteries, man.
I love
AA and AAA. And
yep, those are great. They're the best. But we were playing, like Mel and my mom were in the kitchen just like yapping like women do, like these broads do. God, and my dad and I were just in the living room, just completely didn't say a word to each other for like an hour straight. We were just like racing around the coffee table, and like we set up boxes to like make a little like race course or whatever. And it was the most fun I've had in so long.
So it's so interesting because it's like there's guy things and then there's man things.
Yeah.
I would say that activity is like guy thing.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say is a man thing? Like chopping wood?
Damn, I was literally thinking the exact same thing.
Why is chopping wood the most manly thing?
I don't know, but I seem to recall reading some studies that indicated that specifically chopping wood raises your testosterone.
Dude, I haven't been on TikTok in months and months, but at one point I went down a dark rabbit hole where there was just this guy, all he did was chop wood in the woods. He was in the woods and just like he's like in a lumberjack outfit and he's a monster.
Have you seen the guy with the crazy like homemade axes? Like he has a flail axe.
No, hold on, circle back to that.
Okay,
but this guy, he almost made me hop the fence. This guy's
just a super Chad.
He's a super Chad, just the manliest man you've ever seen, like real life Thor. And he's got a freaking axe, and he's just like. These are huge stumps. I mean, the stumps are like the size of this table. Like the radius is like they are massive stumps. And he's just like, and you could tell he's burning 1,000 calories per 10 minutes for just the amount of force that he's wailing on these things with. And he eventually splits them. And then when he splits them, it's just there's no words. He just starts going at it, and it's just a single shot. There's no cuts or anything. Single take. It's like the fucking Goodfellas. And he just fucking splits this giant-ass thing, and he just looks at the camera and he goes, and he just sighs, and he just walks off. And thousands of comments are just thirsty bitches, dude. Just 1,000, 5,000 thirsty bitches like, oh my fucking God, I'm wet. Like, oh my God, I'm soaking. Where they're just like, they're acting like guys. Like, I'd fuck the shit out of that guy. Give me that axe, I'll put it up my badge. Like, it's crazy. This guy just he's just Captain America, you know?
Just going after those logs.
I mean, it is wild. Like I was on the train for a while. I was just watching. I was like, I've watched one too many of these.
It seems kind of inspirational, actually.
Kind of was. It was like, God, I wish I was that.
It's like, it's epitomizing the men want to be him, women want to be with him.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like charisma.
I mean, he was like seeing a really nice car that you're like, I don't want to own that. I want to be that car that women can drive. Like, you are a supercar. Yeah,
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure Mel has.
It sounds like
I'm sure Mel has that dirty bird on her TikToks. I know what she's saving. I know what she's looking. I know what her feed's all about. Actually, it's not. It's just a bunch of chicks. It's just a bunch of like Korean chicks. Her whole feed. You would think that it's like a bunch of like hot guys. Just like she's younger. She's like on social media as Gen Z. Like obviously she's playing the field. She's looking at backups. In case when I inevitably fall through. And then I look at her feed and it's just like over her shoulder or whatever. And it's just like hot Korean chicks that weigh 85 pounds.
And what activities are they engaging in?
Just being hot. They're not doing anything. When you're, I guess apparently when you're a hot chick, you don't have to have any other redeemable skills. I mean, that guy was just chopping wood.
But here's the thing: on TikTok, everybody can be hot thanks to the power of filters.
Right. Yeah. Of course, none of it's real. I mean, I'm sure some of them are that thin, but they're all using filters on their face. They're all even probably using filters to like make their sides thinner and shit like that. But it's just, and she knows that. Like, she's smart. She knows that it's all fake.
Right.
But it's still just like, I think the shittiest thing about social media, one of the shittiest things, is that your feed that is really just fed to you based on your own psyche is just filled with things that you want or desire. So, like, for a guy, like the average guy, it's like a bunch of hot chicks because it's like, oh, I just want to like bang all these bitches. But for a chick, it's like other hot chicks because it's like, that's the body I want. That's the face I want. Those are the curves I want. I want that, designer bag, whatever the fuck it is. So it's pure toxic. It's just poisoning your brain to go, look at all these things you don't have.
So
that you really need in order to, reach some like status in society.
That's kind of sad because
it's super sad.
It makes sense in a fucked up way. Like, that is successful because you keep coming back to it. It's like a poisoned well that you keep coming back to, and you keep getting engaged with things that make you want to spend money on, products that are trying to make you look prettier.
Yeah, right.
Right? Or whatever the marketing angle there is.
Sure.
It's going to be successful because it's going to be tailored to look at, okay, what are you interested in? Now let me sell you things that, you're going to see that and be like, "Oh, well, that will help me get closer to the things that I want, to be."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it'd be really interesting. And I think it's like a lot of America, just like capitalist society. I mean, we're constantly just advertising here is ridiculous. And, celebrity world is on another level that other countries haven't seen. I'd be really curious to see, like, I'm sure there's been a study, but I'm going to look it up after this because I'm really curious. What are like the average feeds? What do the average feeds look like for the average 25-year-old male, 25-year-old female in XYZ country? Like, here it's going to be supercars, hot chicks, mansions, and then maybe in like Switzerland it's like chocolate and cheese.
I would actually be very interested to see that because it reminds me of this study where they took a bunch of pictures of men and women from various countries.
Yeah.
And then they averaged them out. So you take like 80 pictures of, Thai women and then Thai men, and
well, they're Thai. You can never be sure. You knew that was coming. that was an easy one.
But it was for lots of Asian, European, African countries,
right,
and South America, etc. Like pretty spread over the world. And it's really interesting because when you take 20 to 80 people's pictures and you carefully line them up, for nose and eyes and mouth and stuff, and then you average them, you end up with this kind of generic phenotype of what a generic person from that country looks like, but they're super hot.
Yeah. Because
they're very symmetrical.
The average of all of them is really hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once you start
like
average, yes.
Yeah.
And it's old. It's like got to be probably 10 years old, I think, at this point at least.
Right.
But it's really interesting to look at how many countries, like the average person, like the literal average person.
Yeah.
Once you get enough data and you average it out, it's like, damn, this country is very sexy overall. Like, I'm looking at the average person from this country and I'm like, I'm very impressed. And then there's like a few countries where maybe the sample size wasn't big enough, or maybe it's just your own personal taste and you're like, that doesn't work for me. Like, I can see how, because facial symmetry is huge for attractiveness. Right. And that averaging process really bumps up the facial symmetry of the end product. And they're pretty much all pleasing to look at. But there's a few that are like, wow, that's really awesome. There's a few that are like, eh. Yeah,
I didn't realize that for the longest time, that like face symmetry had something to do with it. I think this a long time ago, I think it might have been Jen, it might have been someone else, but I think either her or someone else was like, oh, like I saw Ryan, what's his name? Ryan Seacrest, the American Idol host, I don't know, fucking celebrity, right? Some celebrity. It's like, I saw him in person and he was so attractive. Like, his face was so symmetrical And it was the first time I had ever heard anyone describe someone's face as being symmetrical. I was like, what, are you really into math or something? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Isosceles face? That's super hot. But yeah, later I was like, oh, that's a thing. It's like the more, like the less warped one side, like the more like mirrored both sides of your face are.
Oh, fun.
Apparently that's apparently your hormones are just like, we should breed with that one.
Well, yeah, because facial symmetry is difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
And so if you manage to achieve it, it's just a generally good sign for reproductive success.
Right.
Fun fact that may also be mostly a theory, but it's fun to throw around as a fact.
Yeah.
Is that one of the reasons why alcohol makes people more attractive is it inhibits your ability to perceive facial asymmetry.
Right. Everyone's just a blur.
Yeah.
Everyone's
everybody's sexiness just gets turned up because you're not perceiving the things that you would normally subconsciously process as unattractive.
Right. All their defects are just gone.
Yeah.
You're blind to their defects.
Yeah.
So it's really,
So it brings out the best in everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It really does. They don't look any hotter. They just look less beat. That's what alcohol does. Wow, this alcohol is really making you look less ugly than you are.
That's a great way to define beer goggles.
Yeah.
It's harsh, but I think it's fair.
Yeah, right.
Because it's like, you are what you are. You can't do anything about it. You just have to learn to be okay with yourself. And it's like I'm not a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm a 6 on a good day. I don't know.
Sure.
But I'm just okay with that. Like
definitely a hard 8 on booze, dude. Definitely a hard 8.
Exactly.
That would have been, man.
And we can all be grateful for that.
Oh man, that would have been so funny in like high school, or in school, and like they put the beer goggles on you.
Are you suggesting getting high schoolers drunk? Because the funny thing is, that's perfectly fine in a lot of countries.
Sure, yeah.
The irony is, it was fine in the U.S. for a long
high
time.
High school kids are horny enough. We don't need to put beer goggles on them.
You're damn right.
They're gonna be like falling, like, trying to walk the line and just like eat shit, and then they're gonna like look and be like, "You fine as fuck, Miss Farr." Hot damn, girl. It's like, take those goggles off, Bobby. Take those goggles off right now.
Boing, right?
Boing, boing. Yeah, dude, there's no way. Yeah, I'm surprised. We should just have a drunk goggle party, Like a sober drunk party where everyone just wears the goggles. And
wait.
You look so good
okay,
right
so,
You look so good tonight.
It's basically AR goggles that apply a sexy filter to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I would so go to a party like that.
Just have a hot party?
Yeah.
Where everyone, including you, looks hot to everyone else.
Yes, and you can't take the glasses off.
Dude, that is the breeding ground for the most regret I've ever heard. Substantial amounts of regret. Because you're going to wake up without those goggles. You're going to realize the atrocities that you just committed.
The batteries will die overnight. You wake up to the truth.
You just have an alarm go off at 8 a.m. and everyone just starts screaming.
I don't know. I think that would be a really fun
social experiment. Yeah.
Not to participate in, but to watch.
yeah. I'll be behind the glass.
Yeah. So
I'll be the one without the goggles.
You'll be the.
I can see everyone for what they are. Just
you'll be
demons.
You'll be the one with true sight.
Look at all these trolls.
No, that actually, like, once the technology can't be that far off. Like, once you can put AR and filter processing into glasses, basically,
right?
Have a low latency overlay.
But that's not going to benefit you. That would only benefit the person not wearing the glasses, the person that you're looking at. So they would have to have some kind of way to I don't know, change the perception of what you're seeing. The one that's wearing right? Because I would think you'd want to see what they look like. You don't want to be catfished by yourself.
You can. Here's my idea. Everybody wears the glasses, and everybody can on the fly adjust their intended perceived appearance.
You just crank it.
So you're like, I want that person to find me sexier. I want that person to find me less sexy.
Imagine you're like looking at a chick, and you're like, You just
fatten me up.
Don't worry. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Hold on, just a little bit more. Just a little bit. You're almost there.
No, you don't get to choose. They choose. They choose
so
how
close.
they want to be perceived.
Oh, damn. That's fucking scary. That's really scary.
But I think that gets into like the true potential purpose of these.
What? So you have to just judge everyone based on their personality? That's crazy.
Like anybody does that. It's like you could do an art exhibit, man. You want to talk about artists?
Yeah.
Like and getting free reign to call things art. You could
that'd be good. That'd be a good one.
Have that, dude. Just like a fancy black tie party of just completely random people who would serve on a jury,
dude.
And everybody gets glasses.
No. What if you do it the opposite way? You have a group of hot people, like hot celebs, at a party, and they're all just made to look really ugly. So then you just see like which celebrities connect based on the one thing that they've never been able to connect on, which is just pure personality.
Wow.
And their minds.
I like that. That's like, actually
a bunch of Hollywoods have no, like, they just cannot see. Everyone looks like a troll.
I like that. I really like that because that's taking the whole thing, like the obvious conclusion that I was going towards, and flipping it on its head. And I appreciate that. That's the unexpected.
Like Megan Fox made out with Jonah Hill? What the fuck? Damn, that's disgusting.
They must be just vibing.
They just really hit it off.
All right, so back to
what were we talking about?
This dude has a flail axe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Flail axe guy. What's a flail axe?
Okay, so a flail is
it medieval?
It's wooden handle and then chain. And then a big, heavy metal thing that just, flails people.
Oh, that thing. Like a mace. Kind of
like a mace.
But it actually has an axe on the end of it.
It actually has an axe head.
On one end.
Double-headed axe head. And this guy is able to actually control it and swing it and split logs with it.
Ooh.
Among other, like, homemade axe things. But that one is just, like, the most ridiculously self-inflicted injury prone looking one.
Imagine showing that to your first date. It's like a first date. You're like, check this out.
We're going camping. I'm going to chop some wood with this flail axe that I made.
Oh my God, I need to leave. I'm sorry. I must leave right now.
I work for OSHA, so I need to shut you down. Here is a fine. Please appear in court within 1 month.
Oh man.
No, that was stuck in my head from talking about axes, and then he got really caught up in this sexy tree crusher Thor.
It was compelling. I want to make it a reality.
And then back to remote control cars.
Remote control cars. I think we exhausted that one. Dude, okay. I got to tell, before the episode's over, Alvaro sent me, my good buddy Alvaro, our good friend Alvaro, sent me a photo. Just read what he says and then look at the picture at the top.
My mom just... Am I reading this out loud?
Yeah, read it out loud.
My mom just casually gave me 70 grams of weed on Saturday.
And then right below it is a photograph of him holding a bag
of
70 grams of weed that his mom gave him.
Did she grow it?
I have no idea. He hasn't replied. I was like, I need answers. I was like, is your mom in a gang or is she just Mexican?
Is your mom Pablo Escobar?
Dude, that is...
Oh, man. I like that it's 70 grams because that's a lot of grams to not get converted to some other form of measurement.
Right.
And it's just sticking with metric system all the way up to 70 grams.
It's so specific. It's like, sorry, Pablo left the scale at home.
Because you got 70 and you got 30. So
he had to sell the scale.
Obviously, I love one of you more than the other one.
His old scale broke. He don't have a scale. We just had to... do the eyeball.
Dude, that's awesome. Now,
yeah, it's sick.
Did he smoke with her?
That I don't. He doesn't say. If it was like my mom gave me 69.5 grams of weed, then maybe we'd have some answers. But it doesn't seem like it. But it's also just like, okay, if you have a mom that gives you 70 grams of weed, then there's a very high chance that you're gonna smoke with her at some point if you haven't already.
True.
Like, moms don't just come across this and then just give it to their kids if they're not down.
Unless it's grandma's boy.
Yeah, which she's completely delusional. It's like, I found all this tea in my friend's cabinet.
Such a good movie.
Oh, it's classic, dude. It's classic.
Not quite there, but due for a rewatch.
Yes.
In the next 6 months.
That is one of those movies that you're going to watch indefinitely until you die, periodically every few years.
It just holds up. It holds up too well.
It's so good. It's such a good bro comedy. It's so funny. They're doing a Happy Gilmore too.
Bro, you know I don't like Adam Sandler.
Dude, why, dude? Adam Sandler's the best.
I don't
Adam
know.
Sandler's great, dude. I used to not be a huge fan either, but the older I've gotten, the more, maybe it's just because I've like seen more interviews with him and just seen him just more as a casual dude. He is arguably the most normal dude in Hollywood.
Okay, maybe I haven't given him a chance because I've just had this deep-seated dislike for him since a young age.
That was sort of me for a while, but you see interviews with him and you're like, this is, with his level of success and fame and wealth and all that, you would think he'd be out of touch, slightly less down to earth. He is the most chill guy. He's just a normal dude. He dresses like me all the time and just doesn't give a shit about anything. He's so cool, dude. And genuinely funny. Like if you listen to like his interviews, there's a great he did an interview with Rogan recently, and Rogan says this joke that he's repeated on multiple podcasts for years, and he loves it. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. He's been trying to like iterate it and make it funny for years, and he says it to Adam Sandler. I forget what it is, but instantly Adam Sandler just with his single response instantly makes it funny. It's so good. And it's just like the appreciation that you have for him.
So he took a joke that kept falling flat and he made it soar.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of inspirational.
I think it was like I think Rogan's joke was something like, when you're a comedian, you bomb on stage and you don't get laughs. It's like you're sucking a bunch. It's like you're sucking 100 dicks in front of your mother. That was his joke. And then actually some YouTuber did a compilation of him saying it every time, like 30 times with different people, and it just bombing every time. And then it cuts to the one real time with Adam Sandler. He goes, yeah, just every time you bomb, it's just like, it's like you're sucking 100 dicks in front of your mom. And then Adam Sandler just goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, and my mom would still be like, you're just not doing it the right way. You could do it a little. You could dial it. These are nice people. You gotta it's hilarious. He instantly, without even effortlessly,
he just brought it home.
He is he's a legend. He's a legendary comedian. He's just quick. He's so smart.
I don't know. I see his face and
he's very punchable for sure.
Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
that's his whole brand. But he is, I don't know. He seems like a cool guy. I could be wrong. I've never met him.
All right, so give me a Adam Sandler movie suggestion.
Have you not seen any?
I think I saw. I've seen Waterboy, and that one was like meh. I didn't hate it, but it did not inspire me to seek after his brand of comedy.
Happy Gilmore is so good. Billy Madison is so good. Do you know the premise of that one? He's like this he's this rich guy's son, and he's a total dumbass. So he has to retake like third grade. So he's just in class. He's a grown man in a third grade class. He's got like the reading level of a second grade. It is, but then he's got like the hots for the teacher. The teacher's like mega hot. And he's like literally relating to these third graders on one hand, and then immediately it's like starts hitting on the teacher and just spitting game. It is so funny. It's a classic. It's a classic. And maybe being a little high helps, but I mean, it's still they still hold up.
Okay.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. I never saw Little Nicky. I heard that one was really good, but that's where he like plays the devil.
Dude, that's like almost 2 decades old now, isn't it?
Yeah. Those are.
I've had an Adam Sandler hate on for like a long time.
Yeah,
maybe I think it's time that I give him another chance.
We'll do an Adam Sandler watch party one night.
Okay.
We'll just start with one movie, see how it goes.
I mean, we did that with Shane Gillis. It worked out fine.
Yeah, but you didn't have any preconceived notions about him, right? You didn't really.
No, I was
really heard about him.
Yeah, I was down to watch, and it was funny.
Yeah, he's He's the best. He's the best comedian right now.
I didn't think you could, do a comedy about a tire shop, but hey, they pulled it off.
Oh yeah, we watched Tires, didn't we?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I introduced you to him, it was the Austin Live at Austin stand-up. We were at Mel's place actually with Mike.
Oh yeah.
It was like after maybe hanging out with Stephen Carey, I think. Oh, it was after the baptism.
Oh yeah.
Baby baptism. But yeah, dude.
And Mike stepped in some shit.
Dude. Mike would step in some shit and then just wash it off in the sink. Be like, and let me just throw this shit in your sink right now.
Dude, we were doing the podcast then.
Disgusting. We were?
Yeah, we talked about that on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, we were. Yeah, we did.
We had just recently started.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a while.
It's you can tell it's been a while when things start to blur together.
Right?
I'm like, I can't even, God, it's been well over a year. Steve, our friend Steve was like, oh, congrats on 1 year. I'm like, dude, we passed that so long ago.
I think I subconsciously knew that, but it was kind of shocking to become conscious.
Because neither of us said it. Neither of us was like, I don't think we distinctively said like, it's been 1 year.
Yeah, we didn't acknowledge it.
We made a big deal about episode 69, but 1 year was fucking, that was dog shit, dude.
Yeah,
that was dog shit compared to 69, dude.
Yeah,
69 was the goat.
It's like it's just the low hanging fruit. You got to go for that. You got to go for that.
Of course, man. I'm bummed about. I feel bad about how much I've slacked on this show though. Like I feel like I was really on top. I was super hyped when we first started it. Where I was like, all right, we're gonna get Halloween costumes. Like we don't have Halloween costumes this year. We had them last year. I was like all amped and stuff. But
that's right. I had holy shit.
Did you have one?
No, I was going to say, like, I've never dressed up for Halloween, and it's still technically true. I only dressed up
for that
in a
show.
Halloween costume for a podcast. I've never actually dressed in a Halloween costume to have fun for Halloween.
Yeah. We could still do it for the next episode, even though it'll go up after Halloween. It's only a few days, by a few days.
If the vibe is right, I'm down.
Less than a week. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends. I'm not gonna force it. If I get some crazy idea, if the listeners have any ideas that they care to put down in the comments, like good listeners, then maybe
put them down there.
Maybe we'll take some of those suggestions, but maybe not. It depends. It's on you guys. I'm putting all the accountability on you guys.
Like a good politician.
That's right. Hanson 2024. Dude, God.
Save us from that. Honestly, no, I'm now having second thoughts.
No, dude.
Too dangerous.
Yeah, dude, no way. I'll take either candidate over myself for the good of the country. Dude, I
was gonna have a whole PSA about pantry moths. Like that's so exciting and sexy.
Is that the note we want to end it on?
Now we're out of time.
Pantry moth PSA. We could shelf it for next time.
I think if it's something that the listeners really want,
yeah,
then they'll get it.
All right, press 1 in chat. Type 1 in the comments for Pantry Moths. Every one that I see in the comment is a vote for Pantry Moth discussion on the next episode. We'll tally them up. Because we care here. We're not going to do any fake polls. This is not going to be a rigged election. Okay, we don't sway that way.
So then, what's the counter?
We don't play dirty.
What's the counter vote? Just not saying anything.
You got to get 10. You got to get 10. You got to get 10 ones in the comments. If you get 10 ones in the comments, they clearly want to hear about the Pantry Moths.
Okay, that seems fair.
Anything shy of that?
Arbitrary but fair, which I like.
This is a democracy. Okay. Get out of here.
Is that the ending note?
We have a few more minutes.
Oh, okay.
We have a couple more minutes. You got anything else?
Panty moths.
Panty moths. Dude, that would be crazy if there were just a bunch of horny moths that only ate women's panties.
Well, that's what you need mothballs for.
Oh my God.
Mothballs make you seem like you're an old woman, and then your panties are unsexy to the panty moths.
I mean, honestly, like if panty moths existed, I would just be dumping those in my girlfriend's cabinet all the time. Just like, how can we make these undies smaller, dude? How do we make that thong just disappear?
Well, just wear them on your feet.
Oh, and just
wear holes in them
until they're as holy as my socks. God, that looks so weird though. I couldn't live with myself just wearing thongs on my feet.
But that's totally normal in Australia.
Damn.
Because they call them thongs there.
I mean, that's why
Sandals.
I upgraded my airsoft gun. Just shoot as many holes in my woman's panties as possible.
just put them over an Amazon box and just go nuts.
The Panty Moth 5000.
Not to be used on panties being worn by live subjects.
Dude, yeah, Panty Moths would be no good, dude. It'd be chaos. Society would erupt in chaos.
You'd have to buy stock in. Let me think.
We already got yoga pants, just turned against us.
I'm trying to play the market here in my mind.
Men are hanging
I
by
would
a thread.
buy stock in TJ Maxx and Nordstrom's.
For what do you mean?
If there were Panty Moths.
Oh, you'd buy? Yeah, right. Because you would expect everyone to start shopping there.
At least those are like the two corners of the market that I could get some return on investment from.
yeah. Damn, you're going all like Mr. Burns on this right now. Trying to make a financial profit.
I'm definitely not involved in genetically modifying moths to favor one type of fabric.
I'm just trying to see more poon, dude. Suit yourself, Mr. Big Time.
If we can genetically modify mosquitoes to be sterile, we have the technology.
Yeah,
we can, because there are
make them sterile. Like, what do you mean by sterile?
Oh, you can genetically modify mosquitoes
so they can't breed.
Yeah, so they can't breed. Like I think all the males are sterile, or the females. I forget.
Yeah.
But you take a bunch of them and you release them, and then they have meaningless sex with all the natives, and then a bunch of the pregnancies don't happen, and then you have a drop in population. They've been doing this with flies in California for years.
So you're just saying we have like mosquito birth control?
Basically, yes. But the interesting, I didn't know this, but that's
pretty cool.
In California, they've been doing this because it's such a big agriculture state.
Yeah.
They've been monitoring like fruit flies and types of flies that are invasive to agriculture.
Yeah.
And when they have spikes in population, they just go and fly a plane over that dumps thousands or however many flies that have been sterilized with gamma radiation.
Yeah.
So they're still they're not. I mean, they're sterilized and they're also, dying, but they're flies, so they're already dying on a very short lifespan.
Right.
So you basically just dump a bunch of horny but fruitless flies in there, and they knock the population down by failing to reproduce.
Interesting. Yeah.
Been doing that for decades, I think.
Damn.
But they've been genetically modifying mosquitoes for the same purpose, which is dump a bunch of sterile population into the pool, and then that knocks the population down because failed reproduction.
Interesting. That's so cool. That's so cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
Mosquito, it's like Planned Parenthood for mosquitoes. You're going to have just wait till all the religious mosquitoes start blowing up clinics, dude. It's going to be wild. It's going to be so wild.
I guess I have to be grateful that mosquitoes are not advanced enough to have religion.
Just wait, dude.
Because a mosquito, can you imagine a mosquito holy war?
Oh, my God. Mosquitoes in the Middle East?
No, go there, bro.
Oh, my. All right. I think we have to call it before things get crazier.
I agree. But thanks for tuning in and engaging with the hijinks.
Yes. We will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Later.